Good morning. Welcome to Fox 32 Sunday. I am political editor Mike Flannery. We are joined this morning by the man Mayor Emanuel appointed city treasurer. Kurt Summers just started his new job this past week and is now running for a full 4-year term. Now the mayor is launching his campaign formally. You're going to be campaigning with him out on the street?
Yeah, I'm going to be as helpful as I can, but I've also got a campaign to run myself. I got to get elected on February 24th. I was sworn in on December 1st, and now there's over 1 million voters out there I got to introduce myself to.
Well, Kurt, one of the things that you are doing as treasurer, and if you're elected, and the odds look pretty good, folks, there's no opponent, huh? So
That's right.
You're running unopposed. But one of the things that I wanted to have you come in and talk about is these 5 pension funds that you sit on the board of. The taxpayers here are going to have to come up next year, unless something changes in Springfield, with more than $1 billion in extra new money for those pension funds. Where's it going to come from?
You know, I think the only way this works is if there's real shared sacrifice. If you look at what happened with the municipal fund and the laborers fund, there was give and take from both the workers and from the city, and they came to a solution that works for everyone. There's still an opportunity, though. What's amazing to me is when you look at the fees that we pay in these funds to investment managers, there's still $1 billion of opportunity in tackling the unfunded liability across all the funds.
Well, that's how the governor-elect, Bruce Rauner, became a billionaire. He got fat on those fees. He went to pension funds downstate and elsewhere, and that's how he became a billionaire.
That's right. He was in a business that charged very high fees, and the problem is these managers are charging different fees to our local funds. So they'll charge one fee to police, one fee to fire, one fee to teachers.
And it's not always easy for reporters to get those fees, to find out what they are. Some of the funds don't release those figures.
That's right. Fortunately, I've been able to, in this transition, to get those figures and to understand the fees that we pay and see where there's that difference. And it's stark. 60% of the time, we're investing in the same funds across all of our plans. 60% of the time.
And we're getting charged
different rates each time.
Now the Bruce Rauners of the world claim, I went out and made you a lot of money. Yeah, I made $1 billion, but I made you a lot of money.
There's some truth to that. Obviously, they have to generate returns in many cases to make money for themselves, but not in every case. And sometimes the fees are too high, and they should be consistent. They should be consistent across all the funds. More than that, though, we should be treated as one Chicago. There's one taxpayer backing all these funds, right?
Exactly.
There's one taxpayer that's the fiduciary. So we want to get the aggregate pricing of all of these funds to get the lowest price possible. If we're able to do that, it can save as much as $1 billion.
A year?
In the total life of the plan. So when we look at the total
Over
unfunded
40
liability,
years.
Right, there's $1 billion of savings opportunity.
Well, $1 billion here, $1 billion there, pretty soon we're talking real money.
It adds up.
Is that realistic? I mean, will these guys, you know these guys, the games they play, they get Congress to pass special laws. If you start talking like this, I bet Congress will be racing to pass a law that says you can't do it.
Well, I expect that I'm not going to be, invited to a lot of dinners from Wall Street guys in the next several months because I'm going on this fight and I'm going hard. I think that how can we go and ask retirees, workers, taxpayers to pay their fair share, to change the deal on them, when we haven't gone to the people who have gotten more than their fair share, Wall Street investment managers, for a number of years?
We'll have you come back and talk about my other favorite of the hedge fund gang. They don't have to pay taxes. Their money's not treated as income. It's redefined under a special law that they gave all the boodle to Congress to pass. And so they get taxed at a much lower rate as opposed to what you and I have to pay.
That's right.
But we can talk about that later. So listen, let's get into a bit about your background. Your granddad was part of Harold Washington's inner circle, Sam Patch.
Yes.
And I remember when he ran for the 3rd Ward alderman there. This is, of course, Harold back in the 1980s, the first African-American mayor of Chicago. Tell me about your dad. He's probably your granddad.
He's
maybe
back there somewhere.
in one of these shots here.
Right.
This is Mayor Washington being sworn in 1983. Cardinal Bernardine there, Jane Byrne. And then, of course, the Verdoliak 29 that we're doing battle with him. Tell me about your dad, your granddad, rather, Sam Patch, and what he told you about City Hall.
So I grew up actually living above my grandfather.
In Bronzeville.
In Bronzeville, and 47th in Michigan. Lived above him with his two sisters for a while. And, you know, he would have folks like Harold Washington and Lou Palmer and Cecil Partee, who was the treasurer at the time, over on Saturdays and Sundays. And
Alderman Bobby Rush.
Yeah, now Congressman Rush and Danny Davis.
And you ended up working for Bobby Rush, right?
I did. I was an intern. Actually, my first job in government was an intern for Bobby Rush in college. And
you think your granddad would be pleased or not pleased that you've accepted the appointment from Mayor Emanuel here and you're running for treasurer?
I think he would be excited and proud. I learned about what it means to be a public servant from him. I learned it from him and all of those great public servants and civic leaders we had around 30 years ago. And then I've had an opportunity to learn from people like Toni Preckwinkle since then.
You were the chief of staff for Preckwinkle.
Right. I was her first chief of staff, and you know, we came in with so many challenges, and I learned what it meant to be a courageous leader, a public servant, and someone who really represents the people's interests.
So you were there when she cut the sales tax by a quarter of a penny for 4 consecutive years, reducing it by a full 1 cent. How tough was that to have to make those cuts and program reductions?
It was incredibly difficult.
What was cut?
Yeah, let me tell you. So she was elected on November 2nd, sworn in on December 6th. We had a 34-day transition. And then we had to put a budget together that cut $500 million out of a $3 billion budget. We had to do everything possible. We asked for furlough days from workers. We restructured our debt. We became more efficient. I instituted performance management in every department in Cook County so we can find efficiencies and find savings. It wasn't easy, but each of these elements added up. You talked about singles and doubles in our pension problem. What I learned working for Toni Preckwinkle is singles and doubles count. They matter. It's Moneyball.
Yeah. Hey, tell me, before you got your MBA at Harvard University, you went to Whitney Young.
That's right.
And tell me about the Chicago Public Schools. Are things getting better there or not really?
Yeah, I think things are getting better, but we have a long way to go. It's great to see our graduation rate rise, and it's great to see that we're on a trajectory for it to rise further.
We're going to hear more about that from the University of Chicago this coming week. They've got a news conference scheduled for Tuesday, I think, to talk about the graduation
That's right.
rate.
But part of it is how prepared are these kids for the world? How prepared are they for skilled workforce? How prepared are they for college? And will they succeed?
All right. Kurt Summers, the new city treasurer, running with Mayor Emanuel for a full 4 years in that position. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Just ahead, accusations of double dipping at City Hall. The City Council's watchdog says he found a lot of aldermanic employees doing political work. I know you're going to be shocked, on the city's dime. Guess how the aldermen are responding? That's next. This is Fox 32 Sunday.